are now working double time to provide land and air transport to the workers. Here's the report.
President Duterte orders a sending home of some 24,000 returning OFWs who have been quarantined in various hotels and ships in Metro Manila. The Labor Department says the Philippine Coast Guard and the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration will send 8,000 OFWs home daily in the next 3 days. According to Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III, starting today, bus trips to Bicol, Ilocos, Cagayan Valley, car, and the Central Luzon will be available. Flights to Cagayan de Oro, Tacloban, Bacolod, Davao, Cebu, Iloilo, and Zamboanga will likewise be arranged. Latest figures from the Department of Foreign Affairs show that the number of repatriated overseas workers have breached the 29,000 mark. Meanwhile, of more than 22,000 swab tests conducted by the Philippine Red Cross on returning OFWs, 465 have tested positive for the disease as of May 21. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says the president is calling for a boost in PCR-based testing in provinces so that returning OFWs will no longer have to be taken to NCR. For News 5, Faith Tobias, we are One News.
And the Philippine Star reports that the president may be scouting for somebody to replace embattled Health Secretary Francisco Duque III. Citing multiple sources, including one cabinet member, the Star reported that the supposed planned removal of Duque comes amid calls for him to step down over his much criticized handling of the country's COVID-19 crisis. In April, several senators filed a resolution calling for Duque's resignation due to a failure of leadership. However, it was rejected by the president. Presidential spokesman Harry Roque also recently went on record to say that Duque still enjoys the chief executive's trust and confidence. And researchers from the University of the Philippines warned that a spike in COVID-19 cases could happen if quarantine measures are eased. The UP report, published on May 22nd, recommends that the national government continue significant restrictions in NCR and Cebu City, expanding the same as necessary to other high-risk areas. It stressed the need for vigilance, even in areas under General Community Quarantine or GCQ, or those not under any form of lockdown. The UP report also adds that the situation in Zamboanga City, Batangas, and Davao City should be closely monitored as risk levels in these areas are still significant. They also added that Zamboanga City may even follow the state of pandemic in Cebu City. We will be back with more stories after a quick break. Stay with us here on One News. Welcome back to One News Now. With the ongoing health crisis, devotees in Antipolo, Rizal are experiencing a different kind of religious pilgrimage for this year. During the Holy Week and in the month of May, faithful usually swarm to the Antipolo Cathedral or the National Shrine of Our Lady of Peace and Good Voyage. But this time around, they are nowhere to be found, at least physically. Brother Francis Edward Baasis, a seminarian of the Diocese of Antipolo, says the church is reaching out through social media. Online efforts include masses, holy hours, and even pastoral activities such as spiritual seminars and donation drives. Meanwhile, in Muntinlupa City, the government has finally allowed tricycles to resume operations starting today, but under stringent sanitary measures. For the details, let's bring in Marlene Alcaide, joining us live from Muntinlupa. Marlene, how's day one of tricycle commuting going over there?
Yes, Sean, tricycles here in Muntinlupa are supposed to be back on the streets this morning. But up to this time, NBP Toda in Poblacion, Muntinlupa is still waiting for their odd-even scheme stickers and queue passes from city's tricycle regulatory unit. Tricycles are parked in this terminal while drivers and operators are waiting for the requirements needed before they could start to operate. Based on the executive order from the City Hall, tricycles will be allowed to ply the streets starting today. However, there will be some guidelines that must be followed. To ensure that social distancing will still be observed and the number of tricycles on the streets would still be limited, an odd-even coding scheme for tricycles will be implemented. Odd-numbered tricycles will be allowed to operate only on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, while even-numbered tricycles will be allowed to operate on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. No tricycle will be allowed to ply the streets of Muntinlupa on Sundays. The city will issue colored odd-even stickers. The NBP Toda, which has more or less 500 members, are still waiting for their stickers. Drivers say they don't want to risk anything and it is best to just wait for all the requirements needed before going back to work. Some drivers fear that if they hit the road even without the stickers, they will be apprehended by the Muntinlupa Traffic Management Bureau and be fined up to 1,500 pesos. According to the Muntinlupa PIO, they are expecting the distribution of odd-even scheme stickers within the day. Sean, tricycle drivers also want to clarify the 25 peso fare cap. Some say it is too low, especially now that they need to provide free alcohol for their passengers and put transparent plastic sheet for sanitary purposes. Sean?
Yeah, Marlene, so how is that going to work? I mean, usually a tricycle can seat anywhere from, one person to maybe sometimes even 5 or 6. Is the government of Muntinlupa going to enforce a maximum limit or a maximum capacity per tricycle? How is that going to work?
That is what they want to clarify, Sean. They want to clarify if in one family how many passengers will be allowed. But the PIOs earlier said that those who have quarantine pass will be allowed to go out, and they are the ones expected to as passengers, Sean.
That's right, but as for the government itself, they have not said anything specific like 3 passengers max only per tricycle, no guidelines like that so far?
Yeah, they're waiting for that until up to this time, Sean. They want to know if up to how many meters or how far they could travel and how many passengers will be allowed per tricycle. Sean?
All right, so I guess we'll find out the details from you a little later on in the day. Thank you very much for that update. Marlene Alcaide of News 5 joining us live from Muntinlupa City. We will have more stories after another quick break, but please keep it here on One News. Good afternoon. You're still with us here on One News Now. The supply of crystal meth or shabu in East and Southeast Asia continues to expand and diversify even amid the coronavirus pandemic, and that is according to the United Nations. The UN's Office on Drugs and Crime reports that seizures of shabu in the region have increased year on year over the last decade, something that is not yet observed in any other part of the world. The office also notes that the illicit drug markets in the Asia-Pacific region continue to hit record highs as prices fall to new lows due to a surge in supply. And Brazil has surpassed Russia as a country with the second highest coronavirus infections worldwide. This was after Brazil confirmed that over 330,000 people tested positive for COVID-19. Brazil recorded over 1,000 daily COVID-19 fatalities on Friday, bringing the total deaths to more than 21,000. The surge came as the World Health Organization declared South America as a new epicenter of the pandemic. Meanwhile, Brazil's President Jair Bolsonaro condemned the stay-at-home measures imposed by state and local authorities. For more updates, do follow News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. I'm Sean Yao, and we are One News.